What is up everyone, Movie back again with another video, and today is going to be all of the unwatched movies in my Blu-ray collection. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that I done one of these about a year or two ago. And they were a lot of films that were given to me, or films that I just bought because they were cheap and were blind buys and I didn't really know nothing about. And I put them on the back burner. So I decided to do that video to see what you guys thought of them films, and a lot of people were in the comments saying, oh, you need to watch this one first, you need to watch this one, and a lot of people seem to enjoy that video, and I've watched other YouTubers do this, and it is quite fun to watch along and sort of in your mind think, why haven't you watched that one yet, and recommend it to the YouTuber himself, what he should watch and stuff like that. So it's just a fun little video, fun little interactive video, I think, for viewers and creators. So I thought, you know what, I've got another big pile here. I'm just going to go ahead and do this video again. Now, this will be probably the last of these type of videos that I do, because I have no intentions of making another unwatched pile this big. I'll always have unwatched films in my collection, but nothing to this scale. There's a lot of movies here. We've got a lot to get through. I'm not going to spend too much time on each one. But the big difference in this video, compared to the last one, is that these are all films that I do have an interest in, about 90% of them. I'm excited to watch nearly all of these films, the ones that I've picked up, because I've either heard they're good or they really do interest me. None of these are just, movies that I don't care about. I'm excited to watch all of these, basically. So, the reason I've got a pile this big is because I watched so many 2022 movies last year and wanted to see every new release, but I'm not going to do that in 2023. I'm going to balance it all out, watching new releases and lots of older ones as well. So I'll be watching a lot more Blu-ray content this year. So with that big intro over with, let's just get into the first film in this pile. And these are in alphabetical order, so let's just get on with it. First up, we have Three from Hell. Now, I'm a big fan of House of a Thousand Corpses. It's probably my favourite Rob Zombie movie. And The Devil's Rejects is not a bad sequel at all. So I can't believe I haven't seen this one yet. Now, I know Rob Zombie's films aren't for everyone, and that is understandable. He's got some really messy dialogue and goes a bit extreme with some of the things the characters say, and they're very grindhousey films. However, I did enjoy them first two, so I'm really intrigued to check this one out. So hopefully I'll get to this one soon and complete that trilogy. That is Three from Hell. Next up, we have 127 Hours. I've heard this movie won a lot of Oscars. Danny Boyle is a really great director. And I do like films where characters are stuck in the one location. I think they can be very, very effective. Fall was a good one last year. I'm sure this one is probably better than that. So, yeah, it's a true story as well. Always like a good true story. So I picked it up. So there's another one in my Unwatched collection. A Danny Boyle film, 127 Hours. Now, next up, I picked up Annabelle Creation. I actually picked up Annabelle and the next one, Annabelle Comes Home. I'll just show both of these here. Now, I couldn't say no, especially with these lovely Blu-ray cases. Annabelle is in the collection, but I actually watched that this month. So I'm going to be getting to these two soon. Me and my wife enjoyed the first one. I've heard the second one is actually really, a better movie. Not quite sure on the third. I haven't heard too much talk about that one. But I do like the Conjuring universe, especially the first two films. Wasn't too keen on the Conjuring 3, but it's really pushed me to want to pick up The Nun and The Case of La Llorona as well, so I can get all these done. And we do have The Nun 2 coming out next year, at the end of this year, so I'll probably do a big ranking video on the Conjuring universe. So that is Annabelle Creation and Annabelle Comes Home. Next up on 4K, we have Arrival, a film from Denis Villeneuve. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Really good casting here, Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner. Now, one of the main reasons I picked this up is because of the director, obviously. I've seen a lot of his films. I can't quite believe I haven't seen this one. But also, I was looking to do a top 20 sci-fi movies that you must own in your collection. I've done a top 20 movies and a top 20 horror films, and a few people did ask me for the top 20 sci-fi films, so maybe that will come in future. But when I typed in the best sci-fi films of all time, Arrival was always in it, so I thought I can't really do that video without checking this out. So I'm looking to get to this soon. I'm sure it's going to have great cinematography and stuff, like all of his films. So yeah, I've got a feeling this is going to be a great sci-fi adventure. That is Arrival. Next up, we have the Anaconda collection. Now, I have seen the first Anaconda film. I watched that the other day, And I'm really keen to get to the next three now. We've got Anaconda's The Hunt for the Blood Orchid right there. And then we have Anaconda Offspring and Anaconda Trail of Blood. Trail of Blood, yeah. I've heard 3 and 4 are terrible. They look terrible, but sometimes I can have fun with them type of films. Anaconda wasn't great, especially in the CGI department, but it was that bad it was good. So I'm hoping 2, 3, and 4 are kind of on that level. So that is Anaconda 2, 3, and 4. Next up, we have The Addams Family Values. I actually watched The Addams Family in preparation for Wednesday, the Netflix show. And I was planning on watching this one as well. I have seen parts of this film when I was a kid, where Wednesday is in a summer camp or something. And I do vaguely remember that someone is trying to steal Uncle Fester as their husband or something like that. Some woman comes into the family, something like that. I've heard this is actually better than the first one. I did like the first one. It's a required taste, I feel. But with this one, meant to be a better film, and I remember it being fun on the TV, the parts I did see. I've never actually seen the full film, which is kind of hard to believe, I suppose, because The Addams Family are very popular movies, and I really enjoyed the TV show of Wednesday. So I think we're going to get to this one sooner rather than later. Next up, we have a bunch of Batman animated films. First up, we have Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. Now, I remember these two were quite early Blu-ray releases, even before all the animated films came out. Sorry about some of the sticker residue from CEX there. And I hope you can see with the light. I hope it's not too distracting. I remember these were two of the first Blu-ray films to come out from the Batman animated films, and I hear they take a lot of inspiration from Batman vs Superman, or Batman vs Superman took inspiration from these, or it's based on the same comic or something like that. I do enjoy these films. They're very easy to watch. They have great voice acting. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. And they're always a fun time. They're always like 70 minutes, 80 minutes long. You can fly through them. So every time I go to CX now, I pick up the Batman animated films if I see them on the shelf. Next up, we have Batman Bad Blood. I don't know too much about this one. It just has a bunch of characters involved in it who are working with Batman by the looks of it, but I don't know too much about this one, to be honest. I did read the back and stuff, but I can't quite remember. And next we have Batman and Harley Quinn, which I've heard is the worst Batman animated film. Don't know about you guys. Like I said, get in the comments, guys, and tell me if these films are any good or not. But I've heard this is the worst one, going by the Letterboxd reviews. And lastly, we have Batman Gotham by Gaslight, which is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most out of these. I did intend to pick this up when it came out on release day, but I just didn't. Batman in the Jack the Ripper style theme in London, I believe. Sounds really cool. And Batman going back in time and stuff, or it's set in a time period where, you know, Batman is thriving then, sounds very interesting to me. So I'm looking forward to checking this one out. Next up, we have the Before trilogy. I got this for an awesome deal on Amazon for £20. I think it was a pricing error or something. Everyone jumped on it, and I was very happy to get it. Now, I've heard nothing but great things about this trilogy. Some people say it's the greatest trilogy ever, or one of the greatest trilogies of all time. And I think they were filmed over a bunch of 10 years or something like that. We've got Ethan Hawke in there, and this is a director called Richard Linklater. I haven't seen too many of his films, but I did watch Apollo 10.5 from last year. I thought that was really good. Not usually my type of genre, romantic dramas, but as I get older, I'm starting to appreciate films like this. So I picked this up just because of how critically acclaimed it is, how many people have told me it's great. I could not let that deal go. So that is the Before trilogy on Criterion. Next up is a film called Being John Malkovich. Now, my friend Kyle always tells me to watch this film, and he actually lent me the Blu-ray. I just didn't get round to it, but I seen this in the Arrow deal, so I picked it up and give him his Blu-ray back. John Malkovich is a really good actor. I love him in Con Air and In the Line of Fire, so I can't believe I haven't seen this one yet. I seen the trailer in the 90s back in the day and thought it looked really interesting. So I feel like this is a film I'm probably going to enjoy. It looks really crazy and weird, but crazy and weird's good. That is Being John Malkovich. Next up is Big Hero 6, a Disney animated film. I don't think it's Pixar. I think it's Disney Animated Studios. This looks like the film Ron's Gone Wrong. I heard a lot of people say that this was such a really good film as well. But it's just one of them Disney films I've never got to. I do enjoy a good Disney movie, I'm not going to lie. But it's just one that I've never really got to. It looks kind of fun. I'm sure it's going to follow all the same Disney tropes and stuff like that. Will I watch this on Disney Plus in 4K? Probably, but it's good to have the physical version as well. Bought this a while ago now. This has been on the Unwatched pile for a while, but that is Big Hero 6. Next up, we do have The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. I've already told the story about this rip, CEX. God damn you, but I got this for such a good deal. I was gutted when I got home and ripped the sticker off, but I think I got it for like £12, and I think it was meant to be 25 or something. This is the 4K version box set. It was either take it back or just keep. Look, the disc is the main thing for me, the 4K disc, and I just grit my teeth and carried it and just kept it. If I really do love the film when I get to it, maybe I'll replace the box art, but that is highly unlikely unless I see it in a great deal or whatever. But I watched Deep Red last year. I really enjoyed it. Now, Dario Argento is a director I am slowly getting to. I watched this new film, Dark Glasses, last year as well. Really enjoyed Tenebrae. So, hopefully this will be a good murder mystery. That's what his type of films usually are, aren't they? These Jellos. Heard it's a great movie. Heard a lot of people talk about it. Horror fans and stuff say it's a must-watch. So, that is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Next up is a film I've heard is absolutely terrible, but I own the other three in the collection. I'm a big fan of the first one, and I have to just check this one out for myself. So when it released this year in the UK, I grabbed it straight away, and that is Candyman, Day of the Dead. Can it be that bad? When I look at this, it kind of looks like it's going back to the days of when Candyman was killed by the bees and stuff. It looks like these mythic characters or characters from a long time ago, but I could be totally wrong there. I don't know. But that is cool cover art, man. But I'm glad to own the whole Candyman collection now, and this is the only one I have not seen. But yeah, it probably is going to be. I've never heard a good word about this movie at all. Now, next up is a box set from Arrow, The Children of the Corn. Now, I picked this up because my friend Kyle is always telling me to watch Children of the Corn, and I did watch Children of the Corn. However, I didn't love it. I thought it was a very average, below par horror movie, and it just put me off watching. Let's just bear with me. Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice, and Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest. Now, I have seen Children of the Corn 2 on VHS years ago as a kid. The only thing I can remember about that film is a branch flies through a windscreen and kills some guy, I think. And that might be, I mightn't even be remembering that correctly, but I think that's what it is. I can't remember a damn thing about the film, so it is probably going to be a first time watch. I may go back to the first one because it seems such a shame not to gravitate towards that film, and it's on 4K and this lovely box set and stuff. So I'll go back and watch that one and watch the other two immediately after, but I've been putting them off for a while now. And it's a shame because it is a lovely release from Arrow, but that is Children of the Corn 2 and 3. I've heard part 3 is actually really good and a nice surprise, so hopefully that is the case when I get to that. Now, next up is probably the most critically acclaimed movie in this pile. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I come to something else, but I've heard this is one of the best films of all time. I done a top 10 movies I have never seen video about a year ago now, and this film was in it, and that is Citizen Kane on 4K. I have to have this in the collection whether I like it or not, I think, because it's just one of them movies that I think every movie lover has to see at least once. So, I have no idea what to expect with this movie. I don't even think I know what it's about. Is it about a newspaper or something? I don't know. Alright, and I'm going to go in as blind as possible. All I've heard is that it's a great film. And I've heard people say it's overrated as well, so who knows what camp I'll land in there, but that is Citizen Kane on 4K. Next up, we have The Cooler. Now, the main reason I picked this one up is because my dad recommended it to me years ago, and I loved the film Fargo as a kid. William H. Macy is in that film, And I just thought he put in such a good performance there. I used to rewatch that constantly. And he's in this film, and I don't think he'd done it too long after Fargo. So I think he's like an unlucky guy in the casino and he wins big or something like that. Sounds really good actually. But every time my dad recommends a film, he's usually right. So looking forward to checking this one out. That's on the 101 label there, where they do them nice big box sets. So yeah, I think this will be a good movie, I think. Next up is Cold Pursuit. Now, I'm not going to lie, I did pick this one up mainly because it was a 4K and it was going very cheap. But then I looked up the reviews on Letterboxd, and apparently it's one of Liam Neeson's better films. And it looks kind of fun, you know, I like films that take place in cold climates, wintry climates and stuff. And Liam Neeson, you know what you're going to get with a fun action film from him. So that is Cold Pursuit. Next up, we have The Damned. Now, I won this film in a Criterion Collection giveaway, and I've heard so many good things about this film. It was a horror collection giveaway at Halloween about a year ago, and I actually won it on Twitter. I couldn't quite believe my luck, but I hadn't heard anything about this movie until I looked it up when I won it, and it's got so many good reviews. It's about Nazis or something, but a bit of horror elements in there. So yeah, looking forward to checking this one out. Next up is another film that I won in that Criterion horror giveaway, and that is Death in Venice. Know nothing about this movie at all. Nothing at all. But people have told me when I shown that giveaway video that this is actually a good film. So yeah, I can't say too much more about it. That is Death in Venice. Next up is a film I picked up in CEX because mainly of a pricing error. But then I looked up the movie. I spoke to my friend John from Mondo Cello Movies, whose link I'll leave down below. And I just had to pick this up. Now, this is Erotic Ghost Story. This was going for like £45 on eBay or something. And in CEX, it was £10 with this box set and cover and stuff. Booklet and stuff, sorry. And then they had a single version for £10 as well. So I thought they've definitely put that sticker on wrong there. And I see it at the back that it was from the director of Riccio, which is just such a brilliant movie. And I spoke to my friend John from Mondo Cello Movies, and he said it was a great film and stuff. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to get this film. I'm going to have to. Now, 88 Films are really hitting it out the park with some of their releases. It's apparently it's in the category 3, which is the Asian equivalent of Video Nasties, I believe. So I'm expecting some heavy stuff from this one. So that is Erotic Ghost Story. Next up, we have The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Now, I am a huge horror fan, and I've heard that this is a really good supernatural possession type film. I believe it's all told in is it a courtroom or something? I think, which really does intrigue me actually, but I've heard it's quite a scary movie and stuff at times as well. Me and my wife will definitely watch this one together. It's right up our street. So that is The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Next up is Fighting With My Family, a WWE film, and it's got Florence Pugh in, which is enough to make me want to buy this movie. I absolutely love Florence Pugh. But then you've got Lena Headey in there, Nick Frost. I've been watching Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz lately, rewatching them. And he's in them, of course, isn't he? And Vince Vaughn as well. I mean, I think it's also a British movie, I think, which, yeah, that type of style and stuff is for me, and it's a true story as well. So looking forward to checking that one out. I've heard nothing but great things about this one. Next up is The Firm. Now, I think I've seen every hooligan movie that came out in the past 20 years, apart from this one. I love the Football Factory, Green Street, the movie Cash. So why I haven't seen this one yet, I will never know. I think I was put off by the colour palette on the cover there, and I thought, is this going to be a silly football hooligan film and stuff? But a lot of people have told me it's a really good one. So I've seen the old one with Gary Oldman in. I thought it was okay, but a little bit dated for me. So maybe a more modern version will be more for me and up my street. So that is The Firm. Next up is First Man. Now, I'm going to see Babylon this weekend at the cinema, and I planned on watching this before going to see that, just so I can do a little mini ranking of Damien Chazelle's films. Whiplash is one of the greatest films I've ever seen. I really loved La La Land, even though I'm not a huge musical person. And I just thought, man, this director is amazing. And First Man is one I hadn't seen, so I picked up the 4K. I've heard this is the worst out of the three movies, but it's still really, really, really good. So yeah, it's another big sci-fi epic. Maybe this will make it into my top 20 sci-fi movies you must own in your collection video, which will be coming this year at some point. Uh, Ryan Gosling, great actor, so I picked it up. It was mainly Damien Chazelle, though, that made me gravitate towards this after loving his first two films. That is First Man. Next up, we have a film called Fracture with Anthony Hopkins and, Ryan Gosling again. Two actors drew me in here, but the fact that it's a courtroom murder mystery, I love them type of films. You know, you're always guessing towards the end, aren't you? What's going to happen? Good. I love a good thriller. So I just picked it up when I seen it in CEX. I've heard good things about it. A few people have told me it's a good movie. So looking forward to checking this one out. Definitely right up my street, I suppose. Next up is Ghost Stories. I don't know if this is an anthology film or not, but I remember this getting a lot of good reviews when it came out. And it's got Martin Freeman in there. It's a British film again, I think. So, yeah. It's horror, British, Martin Freeman. Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this one out as well. Like I said, like the Exorcism of Emily Rose, me and my wife will watch this one together at some point. Next up is Green Book. Now, I've only recently got into watching the Oscar-nominated pictures the last couple of years. And when this one come out, I wasn't really too interested in the Oscars. But I am one of them people now who are moving towards wanting to watch them all when they're nominated before the Oscars actually happens. But I've heard so many great things about this film. My mum and dad's friend, I was at our house one day and he was talking about films with them, and he just said, look, you've got to watch it. It's absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to have to give it a go at some point. So that is The Green Book. Best Picture. It actually won Best Picture. So there you go. Next up is Grown Ups 2. I picked up Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2 at the same time. They were both there, very, very cheap in CX. I think they were like 50p each or something. And I'd never seen them. And Adam Sandler is an actor I really do enjoy. You're either going to love or hate Adam Sandler. But I enjoy his comedy. Some of them are bad, but watchable. Some of them are really good. And me and my wife watched Grown Ups not long ago. It was okay. I didn't like the fact that they were all telling jokes in the movie and all the characters were laughing, and sometimes I wasn't. It made it feel kind of awkward. But apart from that, it was a fun enough time. However, I've heard this one is absolutely terrible. Like, my friends in our little film group that we talk in on Facebook and stuff said, look, Grown Ups isn't bad, but the second one is fucking terrible. So I'm not expecting great things from this one, and it's probably near the bottom of this pile now of ones to watch, but I will get to it eventually. That is Grown Ups 2. Next up, we have A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. This is a foreign language film, and I think it's like a vampire tale. Very, very different, I've heard. My friend Reese on Twitter always bangs on about this movie, how great it is. And it was actually the day he was banging on about it, I actually went to the shop at the CEX and it was in there. I thought, well, this is a bit of an omen, really, isn't it? I mean, Reese has just been talking about it, and there it is. So I picked it up. I still haven't got to it yet. Believe it's a black and white movie, but one of the best horror films in the past 10 years, according to some people. So that is A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Cool name for a movie. Now, this is where I feel bad on some of these films, because this was actually sent to me by my friend Tom. And Tom, I'm really sorry, I still haven't got to it, but that is Goon with Sean William Scott in. A hockey movie where he's one of them. Are they actually called goons where he beats people up? It's actually legal in hockey to do that. I've heard it's actually a very, very underrated comedy when I looked it up and stuff. So yeah, I love comedies that you can just jump into, and they're easy watches, aren't they? So Tom, one of my goals out of this pile is to get my subscriber mail watched in the next couple of months. So I will be talking about this on my end of month watched videos, either January, February, or March. I want to get to the subscriber mail that people have sent me, and I'm sorry I haven't watched this yet, but that is Goon. And believe it or not, we have another one from Tom that he sent me a while ago as well, and that is Grudge Match with two of my favourite actors, Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone. And I love a good boxing movie, so why the hell I haven't watched this yet, I will never know. But Tom, like I said, I'm going to try and get to this and Goon, and There's one or two more you've sent me in here as well. Yeah, I've heard this is actually quite a good film, actually. I've only just noticed now that Kevin Hart's in there, so that's another bonus. I do like Kevin Hart in movies. He's not a great actor or nothing, but he's always a fun character. So yeah, that is good, Matt. Sylvester Stallone in another boxing role, which isn't Rocky. Next up is Here. I've heard so many great things about this. This stars Joaquin Phoenix, who of course is just one of the best actors of all time, working today. And I think he falls in love with his phone or something, or this voice on his phone, which is a very interesting concept where technology could probably be dangerous. I've never heard anyone say that this is a bad movie. I've only ever heard good things about it, and this is one again on this pile that is more towards the top of me wanting to watch. So that is Here. Next up, we have House of Gucci. Now, me and my wife went to the cinema so many times in 2021, and we planned to watch this one as well, but our son was born around the time, and then we were off work and stuff and looking after him, and we didn't really go to the cinema for a few weeks there, so we missed the boat on this one, really. So when I seen it on Blu-ray when it came out, I picked it up, and we still haven't got to it. I've heard Jared Leto's performance is off the scale in this. I really liked Lady Gaga in A Star Is Born. I thought she was such a surprising actress in there. And apparently this is a true story, and it's got Al Pacino in there, who's my favourite actor of all time. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, actually. It's just a 2.5-hour film. I've got to find the time slot there, but that is House of Gucci. Next up is The Island. After hearing Cody Leach talk about this a few times, when he was talking about Michael Bay movies, he really likes this film. There's just a couple of problems with it that could have made it better. But when he was describing this film, I thought, you know what, I'm going to just get this at some point when I see it in the shops and stuff. It's got Ian McGregor in there and Scarlett Johansson. Great pair in there. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this out. I'm not a massive Michael Bay fan. He is very, very hit and miss with me. I love Transformers. There's other movies he's made that I actually don't really like Pearl Harbor as well. But there's films like Ambulance that came out last year that I don't love. He is very, very hit and miss. Bad Boys, another great one. Bad Boys 2. So yeah, very, very hit and miss director. So hopefully this one is a hit with me. That is The Island. Insidious, The Last Key. We really enjoyed all 3 Insidious films, and especially part 3. I thought that was a really underrated movie. This is the only one we haven't seen, and with Insidious 5 coming out this year, hopefully, we'll probably watch that just before going into that one, because we will go to cinema to see that, but we won't go without watching all of these. So we'll probably watch that nearer the time, maybe rewatch the whole franchise. But hopefully this is as good as the other 3. 2 is the weakest for me, but 1 and 3 were really good. But I don't know if this is meant to be the worst or one of the better ones. I don't know. But it's a fun horror franchise. Next one might surprise a few people, and that is John Wick 2. And we also have John Wick 3. Now, I have seen the first John Wick film, which I also own. These are on 4K. I'm saving these for John Wick 4, which is only a few months away. But me and my wife are going to watch John Wick again, rewatch that, then go 2, 3, and then go to cinema to see 4. I really enjoyed the first one. You know, the fighting choreography was great. Keanu Reeves was an awesome actor, of course. Great little story. And I've heard mixed things about these films. I've heard people say 3 is the best, 2 is the best, 1 is the best. It seems to be a very mixed bunch of reactions, or, you know, difference in opinion there. So time will tell. But really, I'm looking forward to checking these 2 out, especially on 4K, and when all the buzz about John Wick 4 comes out. That is John Wick 2 and 3. Next up, we have a Martin Scorsese film, which I've heard is one of his better movies, and that is The King of Comedy. I believe the movie Joker, which I love, took a lot of inspiration from The King of Comedy. Robert De Niro in there, which another actor, my second favourite actor of all time behind Pacino, and Martin Scorsese, one of my favourite directors. So really, again, this is one that's been high on the list for a while. I can't believe I haven't seen this movie yet. And I can't call myself a real Scorsese fan if I haven't seen this one, I don't think. This is the last big Scorsese film I've got to see, really. That is The King of Comedy. Next up, we have Licorice Pizza. I don't know what to think about this. I just heard so many things about this, and it was an Oscar. Was it nominated for Best Picture? I just don't know. I don't know too much about the film, but because looks a bit quirky and a little bit different, and I heard a lot of people say it was alright, and it got nominated. I thought I'd give it a go. But it's a movie by the guy Paul Thomas Anderson, is it? Yes, Paul Thomas Anderson. He's made some really good films, in my opinion. So I thought I'd pick this up, but just haven't watched it yet. One of them 2021 films I haven't got to. So that is Licorice Pizza. Next up was a film sent to me by my friend Leon, and that is Logan. I can't believe I haven't got to this yet. It's the only X-Men film I haven't seen. So Leon, I do apologise, but hopefully I will get to this soon. If it's a good film, I'm definitely going to check out the is it Neo Noir? Is that what they call it? Where it's black and white? Logan Noir version, black and white version of the film. Because I think that might be very interesting. But I've heard this is like an X-Men movie that's in a type of a Western theme, which is really intriguing to me. And I've heard a lot of people say it's the best X-Men film. I did enjoy the first two Hugh Jackman ones, X-Men Origins. A lot of people hate that movie, but I did like it. And then X-Men Wolverine. Is it called Wolverine? I thought that was alright as well. James Mangold. And I think he directs this one as well. So, yeah, I'm sure I'm going to like this. But that is Logan. Next up is another Logan. And that is Logan Lucky. This was sent to me by my friend Tom. Again, Tom, really, really apologise for this. I didn't know too much about this film till he sent me it. But then I read the back and stuff. And apparently it's a big heist while a motor... Is it a Formula 1 race is taking place or something? Sounds interesting to me. Daniel Craig is an awesome actor, and I just feel like this is going to be right up my street. I heard so many good things about this one as well, so that is Logan Lucky. Next up is The Long Kiss Goodnight. One of the most underrated films of all time, according to some people. Apparently it's a bit of a Christmas film as well. Samuel L. Jackson is one of my favourite actors of all time. So this is another one, like King of Comedy and a couple of others, that is high on the list. So hopefully I'll be getting to this one soon. Just looks really, really fun, actually. Really fun action movie. So, yeah, Samuel L. Jackson's just a man, isn't he? That is The Long Kiss Goodnight. Next up is a Guy Ritchie film called The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I've heard so much buzz about this movie. I've heard there might even be a second one coming out or something. I do love Guy Ritchie, I do. I really enjoy his movies. I loved The Gentleman, love Lock, Stock, love Snatch. I even like the remake, the live action version of Aladdin that he made. So I just don't know why I haven't gone to this one yet. I really don't. I remember The Gentleman as well. There was a poster of this in the background, like a little Easter egg there at the end of the film. But looking forward to this one. Now, this one might actually be the highest on the list. I'm planning on maybe watching this tonight at the time of this recording, and that is Midnight Run. I've heard this is one of Robert De Niro's best films. It's a bit of a comedy duo, I believe, where they've got to get from point A to B to deliver something or something like that. But I've just heard nothing but great things about this, and I put my top 10 Robert De Niro films up on Twitter a while ago, and everyone was going, "Where's Midnight Run?" And I done a Robert De Niro movie collection, and everyone was saying, "Where's Midnight Run?" So I feel like I've got to watch this one now. I didn't know too much about this film until a couple of years ago, till people were telling me about it. But it looks a really, really fun time. So that is the second sight edition of Midnight Run. Next up, we have another Oscar-nominated picture, and did it win Best Picture? BAFTA winner Best Film, and that is Minari. When this was a time I was just getting into the Oscars, but this was one I missed, and a lot of people said it was just a really good, a really feel-good movie, and I love films from. Is it Korea? Is this a Korean film? I don't know, but I just feel like films that are foreign language give you something different. Instead of the standard formula most of the US cinema releases give us, or UK cinema releases, they follow a very similar path. But I find with foreign language films, they do something totally different, and they're always interesting. And a lot of people don't like subtitles and stuff, but I always get more engaged reading the subtitles. But I've heard this is just a really feel-good film, so that is Minari. Next up is Need for Speed. Aaron Paul, I loved in Breaking Bad, and I've heard this is just a fun time. It's based on a video game as well, I believe. Well, I don't believe, but it is based on a video game. I haven't seen all the Fast and Furious films. I've only seen the first one, but apparently this is in the same vein and stuff like that. This just looks like a very easy watch and lots of fast cars. Typical male film, isn't it? Yeah, could be a fun time. I've heard the Blu-ray on this is actually one of the best picture quality Blu-rays out there as well, which is mad. But that is Need for Speed. Looking forward to that one. Next up, we have Night of the Hunter, another film I won in the Criterion collection horror collection, and this is the one out of that collection I won that I'm looking for checking out the most. I've heard this is one of the best horror films of all time, one of the best movies of all time, and it's that guy with love-hate on his knuckles, which is iconic. I had a horror movie book years ago, and I always remember that image of him with love-hate on his hands, and I always wanted to check the film out. A 50s film, so it's an era of film I've been getting into the last year or two. So yeah, looking forward to checking this one out. Heard it's fantastic. So that is Night of the Hunter. Next up, we have Non-Stop. Now, this is a film I might be watching very, very soon because we have the movie Plane coming out at the end of the month here in the UK. And I might be doing a top 10 plane movies, basically, or movies that are either based on a plane, part of it are based on a plane, or in airports and stuff, just for a bit of fun. Because when I typed in these films, I didn't realise how many I'd actually seen. I thought, you know what, there's enough room there for a top 10 video. And I recently watched Red Eye as well, which would be in that top 10. I thought, you know what, this could be a good time to make that video. So I'm going to check out Non-Stop very soon. I love movies that are based on a plane because it feels very congested and you can't get away from the danger or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, this might be fun. Another Liam Neeson movie. Next up is Olympus Has Fallen. I've heard great things about this one as well. I know the film White House Down came out around the same time of it, and it's meant to be the same movie, really, but apparently this is the better version. I know it's part of a trilogy now as well, which is strange. This kind of reminds me of the TV show 24, because at one point they do storm the White House, so that sort of made me gravitate towards the film as well, because that was a great episode. But Olympus Has Fallen looks a good action flick. Next up, we have Prince of Darkness. A lot of people say this is one of Carpenter's best horror movies. This is on 4K. I'm not in love with John Carpenter like a lot of people are, but I do really, really like some of his films. He's not elite director for me personally, but his films are fun. But with people saying this is one of his best and stuff, I plan to watch this on Halloween. I bought it around Halloween time in the horror movie sale. Just didn't get to it. We watched Fright Night remake instead. But Donald Pleasance, I'm about to say Sutherland then. When I watched the Halloween franchise not long ago, I absolutely loved his character. He was my favourite character in the entire franchise, even more than Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers himself. So with him in there, makes me want to watch it even more. So that is Prince of Darkness. Next up is Promising Young Woman. Won a few awards and got Carey Mulligan in there. Now, I think this is like a revenge movie where I don't know the ins and outs of it, but apparently she's just on this big revenge spree, basically. So, yeah, looking forward to checking this one out. I heard a lot of buzz around the time when it come out and stuff. 2019, was it? 2020. I just didn't get to it at the time, but it looks a fun movie. Looks my type of film. That is Promising Young Woman. Now, next up is a film I can't believe I haven't watched by now, because this just looks totally made for me, and that is Ready Player One. Could not get this sticker off. Do apologise, guys. This is a Steven Spielberg film, and he is just such a great director. It's based around 80s stuff. I think there's a lot of characters who come into this from other movies in the past. Lots of Easter eggs and stuff. And it's about video games. So why the hell I haven't watched this film yet, I do not know. And apparently there's a Ready Player 2 in the works. Probably one I'll get to very, very soon. Maybe a Saturday night movie, this one, I think. Big blockbuster. But yeah, I'm excited for this one. That is Ready Player One on 4K. Next up, we have Rec 2. Watched the first one with my wife last year. She'd never seen it. And I loved that film when I first watched it. I thought it was fantastic. The second time I watched it, I did really like it again. It was just towards the end, all the screaming and shouting was irritating me a bit. But I've never seen any of the other ones. And I've heard Rec 2 is actually really good as well. So I do like a good found footage film. I think they can be effective and very, very scary at times, and that Rec 1 was like that, so hopefully Rec 2 follows in them footsteps. If I like this, I might pick up Rec 3 and 4 as well. I believe they're out on Blu-ray in the UK, I believe. But yeah, hoping for good things about this one. Next up is Red Heat. Now, I made a vow this year to watch every single Schwarzenegger movie because he was my hero growing up. I used to love the Terminator, Last Action Hero, Terminator 2. But when I looked up his filmography, I just realised that I hadn't seen a lot of his films, and they all look really fun and stuff. Now, I got raw deal with this one, which I did watch this month. More about that in my end of month vlog video. But I've heard this is a really good buddy cop action movie and, just a really fun film. I will watch anything Arnold Schwarzenegger is in, and I just can't believe that there's so many films I haven't seen. But if someone says, watch this Arnold Schwarzenegger film, I'm just going to go, okay, count me in. So that is Red Heat on 4K. I've heard John Belushi's really fun in this one as well. Next up is Scarface, the original, which I'm a big fan of Scarface with Al Pacino in. I think it's an overrated movie at times, but there's no doubt that it has rewatchability factor, especially for Al Pacino's performance. And we do have a remake coming soon as well from Luca Guadagnino, think his name is, the director of Bones and all. And before that one comes out, I'm definitely going to be checking this one out. But you know what? I'm starting to watch films that came out years ago now, 30s, 40s, like I said before, 50s. I really can appreciate that era now. So I'm really looking forward to this. Howard Hughes, directed by Howard Hawks. I think there's another movie coming up in a minute with Howard Hawks' name on it. But yeah, Scarface, the original, looks really fun. Looks a good time. And the guy who plays him, Paul Mooney, is it? He looks the part on the back of the case. He just looks like he should be playing this character. So yeah. Tony Camonte, his name is in this, not Tony Montana. So yeah, looking forward to checking this one out, and that is Scarface. Next up is the Species collection. Now, I'm mainly talking about Species 3 and 4 here, but when I get to watch them, I will probably watch Species 1 and 2 again. I've seen this first Species film countless times, and that's not because Natasha Henstridge gets her clothes off all the time. That's not the reason, honestly. No, to be honest, I think the first one is really a good film. The second one I watched years ago, when it first come out, there was like this cable had this version of Sky Box Office. I forgot what it was called, but it was on there. And I watched it then, and I thought it was okay, nothing special. In fact, it wasn't a great film, but it was watchable. But definitely not as good as the first. 3 and 4, I don't know nothing about. I've heard they're terrible though. But I'm glad to own this lovely box set. I love these box sets from 88. Is it 88 films? Yeah. I wish they'd bring out more. I own the 4 that they've brought out, the 4 ones that are designed like this. Urban Legend, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and Anaconda, what I showed off before. I would love them to do more of these. So I will grab them in a heartbeat. They're great value for money. You get all sorts in there. But yeah, Species 3 and 4, 2 films I've never seen. And like Anaconda 3 and 4, I've heard they're terrible. But who knows? I can watch bad movies at times. I'd rather watch a bad movie than the boring one, let's say. On to the last bunch now, guys. And then we do have Super. I've heard this is a bit like Kick-Ass. And it just looks like a really fun time. 2 superheroes who aren't really superheroes, I think. Yeah, I heard a lot of people say this is a good movie. So I just picked it up when I seen it. I can't really say too much more than that because I don't know, but if it's a bit like Kick-Ass, that'll be for me. That is super. Next up, we have Tears of the Sun. Now, this was around the time, I think it was early last year, when we heard that Bruce Willis was suffering from this disability where he can't really, something to do with his speech and stuff, and that's why he's been in a lot of red box movies, as they're called. And I was talking about him on Twitter, and a few people said to me, look, Tears of the Sun is one of his best movies. And I remember this first come out and it looked interesting, but I never got round to it, and I just totally forgot about it. But when people tell me, it was one of the best films and stuff by him, I decided to pick it up and order it off Amazon. I do like a good Bruce Willis film, so hopefully this meets expectations and is true what all them people have been saying about how good it is. So that is Tears of the Sun. Now, here's the other film with Howard Hawks' name on it. I don't think he directed it, though. It's just his production. And that is The Thing. Now, of course, John Carpenter remade this film. So this is kind of like in the same vein as Scarface. It's the original. And it's got the more popular remake, if you like. I always remember watching Halloween, and this came up on the TV when Lindsay and Tommy are watching the horror movie, and it said The Thing. And I always thought they were watching John Carpenter's The Thing, but when I was older, I realised that wasn't possible because he made The Thing after Halloween, and it is in fact this movie. And I've heard it's actually a really good original. Apparently, it's not as good as the remake, but yeah, I think I'll enjoy this one. The Thing remake is one I actually really want to rewatch, actually, because it's never quite hit me like everyone else. But we'll see on that rewatch and when I talk about it when I finally do rewatch it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this one out. So that is The Thing from Another World. Now, this is a film that I did have no interest in whatsoever. This is one of them very few films on this pile that I just really can't. I'm not looking forward to watching it, put it that way. But I had to pick it up. I had to, because this is a steelbook version of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and it was £1. I mean, how can I say no to that? Now, I've heard a few people actually say it's actually really good. It might surprise you, and I've heard a lot of people say it's a boring movie, so this might be one of the last ones I watch. But the fact that it was a steelbook, I had to grab it. And Gary Oldman's a great actor as well. So that is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Next up, we have Troll Hunter. I heard a lot of people say this one was good. When the Netflix film Troll came out, a lot of people brought this one up and said it was actually the better movie. I think this is a found footage film in Norway, and they come across a load of trolls in a mountain. So that sounds like it's right up my street. Like I mentioned before, I do like a good found footage film. And I always see this in CEX every single time I go in. And I decided to grab it this time. So yeah, that is Troll Hunter. Next up, we have The Truman Show. I watched this one as a kid years ago, but I might as well have not seen it because I don't think I quite got it. I was expecting a comedy movie because I loved The Mask and Liar Liar as a kid. And I went into this expecting the same thing, and it just wasn't that. This is one of Jim Carrey's more serious roles. So I kind of totally blanked it from my mind and forgot all about it. I just know it's about him being watched and everyone in a different world is watching him on screen or something like that. But I feel like I might appreciate it a lot more on this second time watch. Like I said, I have seen it, but it'll be like a first time watch for me because I can't remember anything about it really. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people say this is one of Jim Carrey's better films. And I do believe Jim Carrey can do serious acting. I just like him more as a comedy person, but yeah, I've got a feeling I'll appreciate this a lot more second time around. That is The Truman Show. Next up is another horror movie that I won in the Criterion Horror Collection, and that is The Uninvited. Now, when I looked this up online, a lot of reviews say it's actually a brilliant horror movie. I think it's about a haunted house or something like that on this cliff edge, and it might be, yes, it's a British movie, I believe, because it takes place in Cornwall, which sounds interesting. So hopefully this is a decent one. I think it's a 50s film, 1944. So yeah, like I said, I'm checking a lot of movies out from that era now, 30s, 40s, 50s, because some of them really do surprise you, and they feel like a lot of heart's gone into them. Like the director is making his masterpiece every time you see one of them. So yeah, that is The Uninvited. Next up, we have Universal Soldier. Sorry, I've still got the price on there. I need to get that off. I didn't see that going into this video. I should have took it off. But that is Universal Soldier on 4K. My friends love this movie. When we were kids, they all used to go on about it. And it was just one of them films that passed me by. I haven't seen a lot of Jean-Claude Van Damme films, I'm not going to lie. But the ones I've seen, I always enjoy. I love the cheesy action and the cheesy dialogue. And this has got Dolph Lundgren in as well, who I love in Rocky IV. So, yeah. I've never heard a bad thing about this movie, even though it's not meant to be anything great. I think it's one of them films that it's probably got the rewatchability factor, and it's just a fun time. So that is Universal Soldier. And lastly, we have another John Carpenter film, Vampires. I've heard this is a really underrated film as well, and one of John Carpenter's hidden gems, if you like. But it's a vampire movie. It's John Carpenter. It's horror. So that's mainly why I picked it up. I haven't seen a good vampire film in a while, really. We got that Jamie Foxx one last year, Night Shift. It wasn't great, really. So, yeah, me and my wife will watch this one because we love a bit of horror, and that is John Carpenter's Vampires. Okay, guys, hope you all enjoyed this video. What do you think of these movies? Like I said, I'm not going to let this pile ever get this high again. And hopefully I'll be talking about a lot of these films in my end of month vlogs, where I talk about all the movies I've watched at the end of the month. Hopefully I will get to some of the subscriber mail soon as well. But let me know what you guys think of these films. What should I watch first? What should I watch last? Are these bad movies that I picked up? Are they good films? Let me know, and I'll try and reply to you all, I promise. Please like this video and subscribe if you're new here. It will really help me out. And if you want more collection videos, including my entire Blu-ray collection video, the links to them, to the playlist, will be down below. Thanks so much, guys. Take it all easy, and I'll see you on the next video.